If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? All right, CEO and brand mischief makers, I cannot wait to introduce you to the incredible person that I get to chat with today. I'm so privileged to be able to meet such incredible people doing such incredible things. And Becky Zingale is one of them. Becky, welcome to the conversation. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we met not too long ago, probably just a couple of months ago. I've kind of been in your husband's world here and there. And if you guys listening recognize that name, you can go listen to another podcast that I had with Dwayne. But we get to chat with Becky today because this is a completely different perspective on business, and not just business, but really the impact we can make in the world. So Becky, just in case people don't know who you are and what you do, can you just kind of tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Becky. I'm married to Dwayne, who does lots of podcast interviews. And we have two daughters, Chloe and Ariasha. And my husband and our younger daughter have a facial genetic condition that affected the development of facial bones. And they both wear hearing aids, which led to starting a business making headbands and writing a book.
Wow, that's a very concise way of putting it, but there's a lot of story that goes back behind that, because I know one of the things that you talked about recently is why you were even thinking of marrying Dwayne, with the difficulties he had and the world he was building and being out in the spotlight, but it really even goes before that. So can you talk a little bit about growing up with siblings, or growing up with a sibling who was in a wheelchair, and how that affected your mindset about the world and what is possible?
Interesting. Okay. So I am the middle of three girls, and my older sister was in a wheelchair, but when she was 16 years old, she actually got up out of her wheelchair and walked, which is crazy and really exciting. And even though her illness was a defining part of our childhood, it didn't define who she was. And I never thought of her as disabled or special needs. She was just a normal kid who happened to use a wheelchair, until that one day that we prayed for at youth group and she got up and walked.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us, like you said, you prayed in your youth group and she got up and walked. So people who don't belong to that philosophy and have not experienced those things would look at that and think it's crazy. But when that happened, she was 16. So you were how old?
Like 14 or 15.
Mm-hmm. So then from there on, was she no longer disabled, or did she have a different disability?
I guess probably different. At that point, she could walk, but she had arthritis in her hips. So she still has some challenges right now. She has a service dog that's supposed to help her so she doesn't fall down. The dog is there to grab onto and stuff, and the dog helps her, pulls her socks off and stuff for her because she can't reach her feet, or picks up stuff that she dropped. So she's in the book with her service dog, in the book that I wrote.
And so thinking of you as the middle child, which we could go into the whole thing about middle children, right?
Yes.
I get it. I'm actually the oldest of three girls, so I think I understand a little bit, none of the disabilities, but the three girls aspect is an interesting one.
We have two girls because it's 2 or 4. Can't have 3.
I thought you said you were in the middle of 3. Oh yeah, well, so you have 2.
As a mom, we have 2 girls, and then 4 is a lot.
So,
but
so I came from a family. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, so I get it. So when she was going through that and being disabled, tell me about your mindset in this whole thing, your part, how you saw that, how you see the world, because of that experience?
Interesting. So at that point, that was before Facebook and the internet and all those things. So in our local community, it was like she was the only person anyone knew who was different. So she was kind of like she's a celebrity because we lived in a Bible college campus and went to church. So it was like everyone was praying for her. And then I was, of course, the neglected middle sibling. And then she's getting even extra attention. So then even more so, like I was felt like very much in the shadows and like, don't rock the boat. My parents are busy with my older sister and my little sister was a baby, not forever. Obviously at some point she was not a baby, but it felt like, they both had a lot of needs. I need to be strong and independent and capable and take care of myself and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then bring that with, because it doesn't mean that that's what you would have to do, because some people would be faced with that situation and react quite differently. Instead of, I need to be strong, capable, take care of myself, they might know, I want to do things to get attention. Right. So there's something about you and the way you look at the world that made you take that take where it's, well, no, I have to take care of myself because these other people have needs that I don't, and I can do this. What was that? Was it that, or was it something else?
I don't know. I don't know really how to answer that, but I know as far as getting attention, like I learned that if I wanted to get time with people, I needed to join them in what they were doing, which meant if my mom was making dinner, go offer to help my mom so I could get quality time with people by giving acts of service. If you want to go into love languages.
Yeah. So think about that. Everyone who's listening, I just outlined several different ways to handle the same situation. And Becky took it, rather than me saying, this is just the way you were made. She took it as an understanding that to have time with the people she wanted to have time with, she had to in some way serve them. And they gave her time.
Yeah. So, right now I'm actually in this learning process of realizing that I can have friends and relationships and I don't have to be giving. I don't have to earn time with them. Like we can just be friends and they actually just want to spend time with me because they like me without me giving. So it's a very strange process I'm in right now of mindset change.
But so take me through that then for you specifically, because this is about you. And I know that's probably a little uncomfortable, but it is. So how are you having to change, again, your mindset and the way you look at relationships to allow for friends to give to you without expectation of something in return?
It's hard. I think I just now realized that I'm subconsciously measuring, have I given them enough? Or do I owe them? And I don't generally feel like anyone owes me. It's just
yeah.
If they've given me too much, I'm like, oh no, they felt like they owe me. And I didn't mean to make them feel like they owe me. I was just helping because I want to spend time with them. I helped you in exchange for time. We're even, you don't need to give me anything. Yeah.
I think you said it right there. We're even. There is no requirement to be even in life, right?
Yeah. Especially as a parent, my kids don't owe me.
Right.
I take care of my kids. They seem to think that I owe them snacks every 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The parenting side, let's just not even. Yes. Yes, that's exactly. They do expect, and rightly so, because they really can't take care of themselves completely until they can. Then when they can, you better back off.
And that's hopefully you'll learn mindset for them. Teaching them to be independent, capable children. You don't need me for everything.
Yeah. And it's not even just children, it's also adults. So when they become, I know mine are 20 and 23, and they don't look to me to do anything for them except be there to have a conversation, to have a meal together, to experience a situation together. And it's a beautiful thing. Really, every stage is wonderful, but boy, I'm loving this adult thing. It's really not just because I don't have to do anything for them, like cook meals and, they can fend for themselves or wash their clothes or clean their room or whatever. But just the conversations we can have are really really incredible to see how their minds
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it is. And even our kids' age is really interesting. Like, you're some good ideas, guys. And there is actually there's some mindset in that with having a child who has special needs, because she's the younger one. As soon as she was born, the older one has always been independent and like wild. We go to a bounce house place and she finds the bounce house with like the most big kids and was like, I want in that one. Like, I hope you live. Whereas I'm much more protective of the younger one because she's smaller and has special needs. And it's like, I'm, I guess, empowering my older child to be capable and taking care of herself while at the same time helicoptering and over protecting the younger one. Like, oh, this could cause a problem. Like, she needs to also, have the freedom to make choices and things like that within safe boundaries. And sometimes she tries to keep it with her big sister. I'm like, please don't pick a fight with her. Like, don't tackle your sister. Like, you're not going to win. She's much bigger than you.
She's got to figure that one out too, though, right? I mean, you know, it's better to practice it on the sister rather than some, stranger at school, right? Or in the street.
Yeah. They need safe places to make mistakes and get like a little bit hurt so they don't do really big, dumb things that get big hurt.
Absolutely. That's so, I mean, if you just take that statement right there, and that's what becoming an adult is all about.
Yeah.
It really is. To really be in a safe space to make those mistakes so that when you become an adult and the mistakes really have huge consequences, you understand your boundaries, your limitations, and you know what you can experiment with, what you can go beyond those with that is not going to hopefully kill you or anyone else. That's really ultimately what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about it. 20 and 23. My goodness. We're talking another 60 years till they're 80, right? So they've got 60 years to make all kinds of fun mistakes and have an incredible life. I'm telling you. It's such an amazing thing that we get to go through. But yeah, so taking that in from your sister, we've kind of skipped over to your youngest. And we've skipped over this person in the middle that you actually decided, okay, am I going to marry this guy? Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about your process of first off, obviously, because he's got a big personality, this guy, right? And he's got an incredible way he looks at the world. So talk about how that what you had to go through to make the decision that yes, you wanted to make a life with this person.
Yeah. So I was probably incredibly insecure and definitely much more comfortable in the shadows. My sister was in the spotlight. And I met Dwayne, and he really loves to be the center of attention, and he's loud and outgoing. Before I even met him, we were at a conference, and I knew who he was because across the cafeteria, he was the loud guy who seemed like he was having a lot of fun, but I had zero interest in meeting him because he kind of looked different. And I'm like, I don't know, he's wild and crazy. But I ended up actually meeting him, and we were working together. So I had to spend time with him. And got to know him and really admired like his confidence and his courage and how he doesn't mind being the center of attention, even though like he doesn't have cheekbones. And like if he puts a kid on his shoulders, his prosthetic ear falls off and he's like, oh no, my ear, like, and he just laughs and makes jokes about it. And it's just like super confident in who he is. And I was so insecure, so we're falling in love. And that was probably the one thing, like, do I want to marry someone who looks different, draws attention to himself? People stare at him because he looks different and he likes it. And I'm like, I don't want them staring at me. So I guess it could work if it's like, look at him. That's probably actually what we've been doing. You be on the podcast. You be out there on the stage. I will just be back here and write the book. And then because I wrote the book, now people want me on the podcast. And now I'm out here. But yeah, I really had to grow in confidence and realize like he had every reason to be insecure and maybe not want people to stare at him. And I really didn't have an excuse. So.
Wow. Yeah. Unpack that a little bit more for me, if you will. That's really important because not a very small percentage of the population of the world has what you just said, right? Very, very, very few people have that reason to not want to be in the spotlight and be with someone with that reason so that they really don't have a reason, but they want to be behind the shadows. And how did you get through that mindset? So, I mean, I'm talking from your sister now you're attracted to this man and he's in the spotlight and you're like, oh, I don't want to be, but I'm in love with him anyway. So let's just make it work. And now you wrote a book. So you're kind of, it's almost like you're putting yourself, but you're putting yourself in those places to make you grow.
Yeah. And he's really been challenging and encouraging me and pushing me out there, and you can do this, and, you know, be a thought leader, you know, be an influencer, all those things. I'm like, okay. I don't feel like I know that much. And he's like, you just have to know, you just have to be like one step ahead of other people to help them get to where you are. It's like, okay. But yeah, it's definitely been a slow process of growing in confidence. Like when I started the headband business, you know, someone would order one on Etsy and I was like, oh my goodness, they think I know what I'm doing and I can make this and mail it and, you know, mail it. Like, I hope they like it. I hope, like, you know, yeah. And now it's, you know, I make several headbands every day, got lots of orders, and I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. But part of it is I've done it so many times. So I guess there's probably a measure of growing in confidence in routine and familiarity and all those things that we were just talking about when my husband and I took the kids out for ice cream. And we're like, I love that our kids just march right up there and order ice cream, but we go to the same ice cream shop like every weekend. And it's routine. It feels safe. You know, they know how it works. But I don't think I ever ordered ice cream till I was an adult. And even then it was like, am I allowed to ask for samples? Like, how many samples am I allowed to have? Like, what's socially acceptable? As a parent, we made rules with our kids where it's like, you can sample 3 flavors and then you need to pick one, because it's the same 20 flavors that they have every week. You know what they all taste like. And they're braver than I am, because I literally get the same flavor every time. And sometimes I'll switch it up a little bit and they'll come in and like blueberry cheesecake, some lemon weirdness. Like the little one gets the weirdest flavors. We're like, well, if she doesn't finish it, we're not finishing it either. But they're brave. They're also like, we'll be back next week. If I don't like this flavor, I'll like next week's flavor. I'm like, I just like my routine and familiarity, safety.
Yeah. And the only way in life that we can create those routines and that familiarity is by testing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you never go anywhere, then you will never have to worry about changing your routine.
Yeah. I actually don't leave my house much. But
yes, but you do. I saw you at a conference, so you know you had to go somewhere.
And that was the first time. First time flying with kids. Their first time on an airplane. That was a big adventure for all of us. And that was him doing what he loves and pushing us out there.
Yes. But you had to be willing to do that. So what I guess what I see you,
I wouldn't do it without him.
Yeah. But see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's fine. If you need him with you to help make that familiar, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Same as
I wouldn't,
moms and dad with them.
Of course, I wouldn't just send my kid, like when they first started school, right? We didn't just go to the school, drop them off and leave. We had gone to the school before then. We had walked them through what was going to happen. No parent would do that. However, I've got to be honest with you. I was talking to someone else, and we were preparing for this podcast, and he was sharing with me that he had taken his son or daughter to the dentist, and he was sitting in the dentist's office waiting to be called, and this small girl, like 8 or 9 years old, the way he describes it, comes in with a person, an adult. And the dentist, the front desk person starts bringing them in and asking questions. And the front desk person addresses the person with this little girl. And that person says, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just the Uber driver. And so this little 8-year-old or 9-year-old girl was sent to the dentist with an Uber driver that was just instructed to make sure she got into the front desk. And the little girl answered all the questions as if she were an adult. She knew exactly how to do. So, hopefully her parents had taken her to the dentist at some time in the past to help her understand what kinds of questions she was going to have. But basically after that, it was like, the Uber driver is going to take you. I'm not.
Yeah. When I had braces, you go to the dentist like every week for them to adjust things. It's not a big deal. It becomes part of your routine.
Yeah, exactly. So, depending on what we make them familiar with and what we make ourselves familiar with, that's what's going to be comfortable. But I remember what you were talking about with ordering. I remember the first time that I was unsure because my parents actually let me order something for myself. And it was eggs. We were out for breakfast and they said, how would you like your eggs? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? How would I like my eggs cooked? I guess. I don't know. Right. And they said, over easy or sunny side up. And I had no clue what those things were. And I just picked one. But it was scary, right? It's a scary,
you're trying to act
it was
confident.
A scary
you don't
thing.
want to ask, you want to act like you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing.
And so that was when I was a child and that was the expectation then. And now I ask, what is that? What's the difference? I don't have a problem asking. It takes courage. Yes. Because you're possibly looking like a fool. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I was able to do that though now is because however someone's going to treat me, if they are going to treat me like I'm a fool or make fun of me, that says a lot more about them than it does about me.
Yeah, that's true.
And for me, that's the biggest.
You have to make that connection yourself.
That's the biggest mindset shift I've had to make from childhood to adulthood and into growing as an adult.
I've seen that in the special needs world too, where it's like the waitress is really rude. I think it's because our kid has disabilities. And it's like, no. Like, do not put that blame on your child. Like they're going to grow up so insecure if they think everything everyone does is because of them. Like it's because the waitress is rude. Like just leave it at that.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. My goodness, I think we could talk on this specific topic for a long time because it's a crux of everything, right? It's especially with special needs, it is really your mindset and the way you look at the world is going to impact how you experience that world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we'll see you on Wednesday, friends, to talk about that. So let's go.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.